I spent my whole life trying to fit into someone else's mold of what good meant. I was trying to be the righteous, spiritual, good daughter, the good girl who was quiet and appropriate and didn't question the leadership of the men. I ended up getting married when I was 19, and we were trying to do our best to live that life. And I was really unhappy in that marriage. And I stayed married to that man for 10 years and had 2 kids with him, and just slowly was drowning, right? Day by day. I just was unhappy. We did not have a good marriage. We were not connected intimately on any kind of level. And then eventually found myself 29 years old, stay-at-home mom, and I met and fell in love with another man who awoke everything in me that had been dormant and waiting to come to life. I ended up going through a divorce, and I eventually ended up leaving that religion and really embracing spirituality and falling in love with myself and my body. And instead of being scared and always feeling like I wasn't good enough, I suddenly felt so much peace and joy just in the existence of who I was. And even the concept of, quote, worthiness was just obliterated from my vocabulary. And so I faced a lot of criticism just for my character, but then that was extended to how I wanted to dress. My soul's way of sticking it to the man is dressing as loudly as I possibly can. It's really a form of deep self-love and very deep knowing. I would tell my specific younger self, stop looking outside yourself. You have all the capability and all the answers and all the power and all the love in you.
Hey everyone, it's Sophia from Sacred You. Thank you so much for being here. A quick message before we dive into today's conversation. You may have been watching the podcast videos but have not had a chance to hit that subscribe button. So if you have ever gained value from our videos, from our conversations, it would mean so much to us if you would hit that subscribe button below right now, or even just give us a like. And what that means is not only does it allow us to grow our subscriber base, but it allows us to bring in more important guests for you to listen to. And you will be one of the first ones to be notified. So please hit that subscribe button and let's get started on today's conversation. Welcome to the Pathways to Wellbeing podcast. My name is Sophia Soul from Sacred You, but with me today is the beautiful and exciting Maren Swenson. Maren, thank you so much for joining us, and I'm really excited to talk to you all about your whole life of helping women with fashion and their self-worth, because it's so much more. So, like I said, welcome, and thank you so much.
Thank you. I'm so glad to be here and talk to you too.
I'm really excited because to uncover the real you, how color and style reveal our inner truth, and that makes so much sense of how color affects our whole personality, and also dressing so we feel our true worth. But what I'd love to start, Maren, is about you. Tell us about your beautiful journey and how you got to where you are now in helping others with their, not just their fashion style, but it's so much deeper, to uncovering their real truth.
Yeah. Thank you for such a sweet introduction of me. I have really only stepped into my truth and my full power and femininity in the last 5 to 10 years. I grew up in a really conservative, patriarchal, high demand religious culture. And my experience was very much, and I lived that way for the first 30 plus years of my life. And I spent my whole life trying to fit into someone else's mold of what good meant. I was trying to be the righteous, spiritual, good daughter, the good girl who was quiet and appropriate and didn't question the leadership of the men and church leaders around me, who was striving to be considered worthy, and I put that in quotes, of God's love, my perception of divinity, and the eternities and all of that was very fearful based, and it just did not leave me a lot of room for growth and self-expression. And especially me, I'm a Leo, I'm a life path 8. Like I was born to yell. I was born to stand out and express myself. And I've always loved doing that with clothing and fashion because I'm really drawn to like vibrant, bright, beautiful things. And that was really hard for me growing up because the culture and religion I was raised in was very repressive of female sexuality, quote, modesty, and how much skin we showed or didn't show was constantly talked about and seen as a stipulation of whether or not you were worthy of God's love and could be with your family forever in his presence. And so I always had mixed messages of, is it okay to be a woman? What does it even mean to be a woman? And a lot of conflicting things, and it was really hard. I ended up getting married when I was 19 to my first husband. Yeah. I was very young, and we both of us were in that religion and just the general mindset, and we were trying to do our best to live that life. And I was really unhappy in that marriage. I was not in a great place when I got married. Like personally, I wasn't in a very good place with myself. And I stayed married to that man for 10 years and had 2 kids with him and just slowly was drowning, right? Day by day. I just was unhappy. We did not have a good marriage. We were not connected intimately on any kind of level. And so I spent most of my time chasing that religious good girl persona, and then eventually found myself 29 years old, 2 kids, stay-at-home mom, and I met and fell in love with another man who awoke everything in me that had been dormant and waiting to come to life. And a long, complicated story short, I ended up going through a divorce and connecting with that man afterwards, after a whole bunch of stuff going on. And we ended up marrying each other. And I really do have to credit his appearance in my life as the thing that kind of woke me up and got me going. And he helped me like heal from a lot of sexual repression and trauma that I'd had. He encouraged me to use my voice. He loved my opinions. He loved my confidence. He loved my boldness, drew that out of me. And then eventually I got to a point where I really had to deal with the religious side of me that wasn't aligning with my values and my true beliefs once I felt the permission to actually make my own decisions and look at them. And I eventually ended up leaving that religion and really embracing spirituality and falling in love with myself and my body and this world. And instead of being scared and always feeling like I wasn't good enough, I suddenly felt so much peace and joy just in the existence of who I was, and so much peace in what was to come after. And even the concept of, quote, worthiness was just obliterated from my vocabulary because I didn't view human beings as good or bad or people that needed to earn love and approval. I just knew it was inherent and that life was here for us to learn and grow, not to prove ourselves and win some reward. I don't know if that answers your question.
It does. It does. And thank you. Thank you. First of all, really thank you for sharing your journey. I hear you. I haven't been on exactly the same journey, but I hear you about growing up in a repressed society, culture, where you're not able to, or you don't feel that you're able to speak your voice, to
Yeah.
really share your feelings to what's going on, and that you have to curtail, for want of a better word, or submit to what other people think you should be doing, and especially in a world, a male-dominated world. So
Mhm.
thank you so very much. I'd love to know more. I'd love to go deeper. And from your experience, Maren, why do so many of us, especially women, there are men out there too, but especially women, struggle with self-expression?
Mm.
How can our personal style really become a tool for reclaiming our voice? How can we use it to empower us?
Yeah. Oh, I have so many thoughts. And I'd love you to dialogue with me about this. In my experience, women and the feminine divine we are the catalyst and vehicles for movement and evolvement and growth and intuition and love. Like the masculine energy and divine role is so incredible and so grounded and supportive and stable and like necessary for the female that, or not the female, for the feminine to come down and grow on, right? It's like this, they provide the grounding for us to do all the forward movement. And at some point in history, we lost all that, and the fear that came about that men showed towards women and all of our gifts and our power was completely changed and desecrated and turned women into the big bad ugly old. And we've like our it's been like a complete opposite of our gifts. Like and you're shaking your head like, yep, I understand. Patriarchy really did a number
Mm.
on things of the world. Yeah, go ahead.
No, it did. It did
Yeah.
absolutely, especially when we go back when there was a time when we used to honor and worship, really honor the feminine form. All the goddesses in the temple are a representation of the divine feminine,
Yeah.
of women who were able to stand in their power then. But unfortunately, throughout time, as we've experienced, then the masculine form tend to become a lot more dominant through whatever.
Yeah. And so I really do think where we are now, we carry in our DNA and our bodies and and like in our non-physical spirits, like the memories and the traumas of thousands of years of repression and fear for women, especially there were many years where it was not only not okay to express yourself and be who you were, but it was like life endangering to be that person. And it's terrifying. And then we went through so many years of dominant religious upheaval and changing the way we view everything. And even for men, it's hard for people to express themselves fully and feel accepted. The generation of like my parents and even before them is a very much quiet, don't show weakness, quote, weakness, don't express your true feelings, don't talk about anything, don't talk about anything. We have to appear like we're, quote, okay and successful at all costs. And I really saw that, and I really felt that it wasn't okay to experience what I needed to and to express my emotions. When I went through my divorce, there were so many things in my marriage that caused that and that had come to a head and were finally coming out. And the message to me from a few people, key people in my life, really was like, I don't want to hear about it. I don't want you to talk about it. I don't want anyone to even know or get a whiff of it. I just need you to be quiet and suck it up. And because this is what I think is best for you. And that was just so damaging to me. And I finally was like at that crossroads where I was like, my soul is dying. I can't live like this. And it was manifesting physically. It was manifesting in all areas of my life. I was to the point where I could barely get out of bed in the mornings because facing that life where I felt so, oh, so choked. I just couldn't do it anymore. It was like literally like my soul could not breathe. And I really had to just go with what was going to be my truth and let go of that need for approval. And style comes into this. I faced a lot of criticism and a lot of judgment over my character and over the kind of woman I was, especially. Like I walked around with a scarlet letter on my chest for a long time. And to some people, I still carry that, and that's okay. I was a new divorcee who had an affair, who divorced my husband and was like out trying to now live as a single mom and go to work full time and do all these things in a very conservative religious culture where we don't do that. Like our eternal family is the core. And that was really scary. And so I faced a lot of criticism just for my character, but then that was extended to how I wanted to dress because once I started deconstructing that religion and just realizing that it wasn't my truth and it wasn't aligned for me, it freed me up to dress and express myself that way how I wanted. I was no longer under the restrictive garment clauses that they wanted me to wear. And adhere to. And so suddenly it was okay for me to show my shoulders, and it was okay for me to wear a mini skirt, and it was okay for me to wear a deep V-neck. It was okay for me to have my belly button show. It was okay for me to do any of that. And I had never experienced that. And it like finally freed me up to dress how I wanted. And I would love to look like I stepped off a runway every day because I love vibrant, bold things. I think it's honestly, it's a huge part of just what I am, but I think there's a part of my psyche that spent so many years being told to be quiet and be repressed that it's like my soul's way of sticking it to the man, or like really amping up that freedom I want to feel is dressing as loudly as I possibly can. And when we talk about style in the spiritual world that me and you are a part of, we spend so much time on the inner work, right? We spend so much time on the inner work, meditations and visualizations and generational healing and talking about our feelings and practices we do. We talk about health and yoga and all the stuff. And I feel like we forget that a huge part of taking care of ourselves and our bodies and our souls is that last step of expression, and doing it with something like, what do you wear every day? We spend the majority of our time, most of us, in clothing. we
Yes.
It's the first thing people see about us. What are you wearing?
Mm.
We sleep in it. Usually we wear it all day. We go to work in it. We show up as entrepreneurs in it. We do all the stuff. And it seems like we've let that be the last thing we pay attention to. And I find that once we're mindful and intentional about that, it's really a form of deep self-love and very deep knowing, to know your soul's truth and to be able to like tangibly put that out there into the world so that you feel good, and also so that you can communicate to your best ability what you're trying to other people.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Mhm.
And I agree totally. It's really stepping into our power, communicating to other people through our whole, or through our body, through everything that we do, and especially through what we wear, because it's getting back our identity,
Yeah.
really getting back to our identity. And I'd love to know from your experience, Maren, how does color influence not just our outward appearance, because that influences a lot, but also
Mhm.
our emotions and our
Mhm.
energy, or even our self-perception of ourselves.
Yeah.
How can we use color to
Yeah.
help
So
with all that?
yeah, one of the things I love to do with clients or like in workshops or programs is we really use like our style as a means for inner discovery, and color especially is a really, it's like an easy way to get into that. If I sat here and we talked about, just think for a minute, anyone listening, what colors do you mostly wear and what's in your closet? What do you mostly have? And a lot of people, they could come up with maybe three or four main colors that they wear all the time. Sometimes it's because it's convenient and that's what the store is selling. Sometimes, but most of the time it's subconscious. Like we're choosing colors that match how we're feeling about ourselves. Yeah, and every color is good and every color has its own energetic qualities. But like, for instance, I love bright, bold colors. I've learned that I cannot wear beiges, I cannot wear camels, I cannot wear grays typically, because they make me feel a certain way. Brown and beige has an energetic quality of being stable and grounded and durable and crafted, and it's a very masculine color, masculine energetic color, and it's not a color that works for me because I feel grounded all the time and I'm always like reaching for more, like I want movement and high bouncy energy. And I look at blacks and reds and grays, which are all to me power colors, but they all have very different energies, right? A lot of people will wear black a lot without knowing it, without thinking too much about it, because black is so protective and it's so mysterious, and it really does create like a visible physical barrier between you and whoever's looking at you. It's such a dark, absorbent color, like it's so firm. And a lot of people will wear black to hide behind or because it feels protective to them versus white, which is the very opposite. And I consider white to be energetically the most vulnerable color. It's like you're putting your full soul on display and just really allowing people to see what they're going to see and let go of the worry and judgment, right? White is innocent, not because it hasn't done anything, but because it's let go of the judgment, right? White is pure because it's not hiding anything. And so when we're like crap thinking about what we're wearing and how we're surrounding ourselves, a red, which is stimulating and full of aggression and life force and movement and literally will evoke a visceral response in your body to put it on or to see it on someone, which is often why it's used in like lingerie and sexual settings. Because it's such a stimulating color, it's going to feel very different to you than putting on a soothing blue or a very healing and rejuvenating green. And so I don't like how in the typical traditional style world, we'll look at someone and say, you have this kind of skin tone, so you really should wear just these colors. That to me feels so incongruent with being a multidimensional human being who changes and grows and evolves at any given moment. And so I love to teach intuitive styling and intuitive color choice based on how you're really feeling in that moment. Like when you get up that morning, what are your energy levels? Do you need the high movement, aggression, and stimulation of red? Or are you already feeling like, oh, there's too much going on and I'm stressed and I really just need to calm down? So I would reach for something like a blue or a green in that moment. So I it's really interesting when we can like l look at what we typically wear and analyze, oh, why do I have no pinks in my closet? Or, oh, why am I always wearing brown? Or, oh, why do I do this? Because we don't even think about it. A lot of times, like I said, style is just the last thing we think about it. But it's very telling, right, of what's going on inside.
And it actually really is for a lot of people, not everyone. I do know that there's a lot of people in our world where style is utmost important for them. But a lot of people, yeah, it is one of the last things that we do think about. Because like for me, for example, I'm actually going away tomorrow. And I thought, okay, I know what I'm going to wear on the first day, right? And the first night. But after that, I've really got no idea. I've packed. I have packed, but I don't know. One thing is because I'm going to a different country and I'm not 100% sure on the weather. It could be.
That's hard. The weather is tricky.
Yes, it could be a lot colder than where we are now, and it could be nice and warm. So don't know what I'm going to wear, just going to take as much as I can. And then we'll
You're
figure
not
it
alone in that. I'm like, I think
out.
every woman, honestly, even a very highly intuitive, conscious woman probably has an even harder time packing. I do because I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to feel on Tuesday. I don't know how I'm going to feel when I wake up that day. And that's how I make my decisions. It's
Thank you.
tricky.
Thank you. And that's a really good important point. So how can fashion, how can color change our feelings? If we wake up in the morning and we're not feeling the best, whether it's we're just absolutely exhausted, for example, or we wake up, as they say, and got out of bed the wrong side, we need to go back. What can we do if we can't literally go back to sleep and try again? What can we do with our style and our color to help change our mood?
Yeah. I have to do this on a daily basis. I really feel like it's all about really honing and tapping into your intuition and getting very comfortable and familiar with your body's way of telling you yes and no. There are some days where I'm so upset or have woken up on so the wrong side of the bed or I'm stressed by what's coming up where I'm like, I can't put any clothes on. I got to go get in the bathtub, like with some salts and light a pretty candle. But then obviously that's not practical every day. So instead, I really do stand in my closet and I close my eyes and I take a few deep breaths and I'll put my hand on my stomach or my chest and sorry, there's a bug. I'll just take stock of what am I feeling? Like, how do I actually feel in the moment? What's on my docket for today? And how do I need to feel? And once I'm realizing, like, for instance, say I'm tired. If I'm tired and I'm a little like dragging my feet about wanting to do something, I recognize that. And then I can start by tapping into my intuition and saying, okay, what do I need to wear today that's going to help me feel less tired? And sometimes that's going straight to what color works for me. And sometimes I'm just very in tune and aware of what exact like piece in my specific wardrobe is going to work for me. But color is a great way to start with that because it's so tangible, right? So if we're combating tiredness, we want something that's going to wake up our senses. So we're going to reach for something like red, yellow, or orange, and probably brighter shades of those instead of the dull muted tones. Red sometimes can be a little overpowering, but like a yellow is going to help you feel optimistic and joyful and excited, and an orange is going to stimulate your creativity and be very social. So it depends on what you're doing that day. But I think just really getting in tune with that mindfulness of how am I feeling? What do I need? And getting used to asking your body, what do you need from me today? It could be something specific. What color do I need to wear today? And hearing the answer or seeing the answer that comes to you. Or it could be, what piece do I have that's going to make me feel really good? But even before we do that, starting with just having a basis of clothes to choose from that we bought and acquired from a very intentional, aligned state, so that when we do go to reach for something, we know maybe it doesn't work today, but it's still a great piece, and at some point it'll work for me. Versus having a closet full of stuff that we've just bought because they were on the clearance rack, or bought because we were bored, or bought because we were upset and wanted a quick instant gratification,
Fix.
or whatever it may be.
A quick fix so we don't continue with that feeling, which happens again. Why do women and men, but especially women, do so much shopping? Because it's that fix, it's feeling that emotion of when we're able to buy something new, even if there's a little voice inside of our head saying,
Don't do it. Don't do it. Yep, absolutely. And I see men do the same thing in their shopping habits, just not typically as much as women do in clothing. They'll spend it on other things.
other things. Absolutely. I know someone who every time we go out, it's like just going to go to, we call them Bunnings, and I don't know if you've got a Bunnings in America, but just going to go to Bunnings, got to buy another toy,
Mm.
another tool. Like, I'd love to know, Maren, like for in your experience, what's the most common fear or even hesitation that you see in women when they really want to begin their journey to self-expression, to really being able to step out or step into their power? What's the most common hesitation?
Yeah, I'm sure you have a lot of experience and ideas about this too. I've noticed for me, the most common holdup or block I see with women is that they're scared of what other people are going to say or think about them. And it's just heartbreaking because I used to feel that way too. And it's just such a losing battle, right? To let yourself be held back because of the fear of what someone else might think or say. I hear it manifests in other ways. Like people will say things like, I'm too old to wear or do this. I'm too fat to wear or do this. I don't have anywhere to wear or do this. I'm too busy to think about this. I'm like, there's always, I'm too something that we let get in our way. And I always bring it back. I have two daughters and a stepdaughter and sons. And I think if my daughter came to me and said, Mom, I really want to wear this dress today, I wouldn't look at her and say, what do you think your friend will think about it? That would never be my advice to her. My advice would be like, do you feel good in it? Does it feel like a full body yes for you? Do you love how you like what in the mirror? Do you like how it feels on your skin? And then but I would never bring in, Christy might think it's ugly, right? We'd never say that to people we love, but we do it to ourselves all the time without even realizing it. Yeah.
Yes, we're always wanting other people's opinions and
Yeah.
approval. We're always wanting other people's approval, especially if we don't approve of ourselves. And when we can come down, and this is the another question that I'd like to ask you because it all ties into each other. You know, a lot of women feel like that they're playing a role rather than really being themselves. They're caught up in someone else's identity, which means
Mhm.
they're always seeking appreciation and approval from others. From your experience, what's the first step in breaking that cycle?
And like you just described my whole 20s, my whole decade of my 20s. That's a really good question. I I love how I just framed it. Like when we turn it around and put it on someone else, like when we hear these things out loud that we say to people or we think to ourselves, I can't wear that. I can't do that. I can't say that. I can't think that because of so and so, or because someone's going to think this or someone's going to. And sometimes there's real evidence to support that. I've had plenty of people say really hurtful things or and treat me honestly terribly because they don't like how I dress or what I think or how I live. And it is hurtful. But I've really had to put it in a frame of is me holding myself back and not feeling fully expressed helping others or hurting others? And I'm like, I know it seems like if I don't do this, that other person will be better off. But it's not true because I can't help them feel permission to be themselves and love themselves fully unless I'm already vibrating on that same vibration myself. Someone can't be with me and they're not going to feed off they're not, they can, but it's going to be harder for them to feel free and authentic and loved and confident if I'm sitting there in their space, not feeling those things myself. And so, it's a little bit of act of bravery, I think, to be able to say they might say something mean and they probably are going to think this, but I'm going to have to let it go because I know that I'm serving them and myself by showing up as my true self. So if I can look at it from that, it doesn't feel selfish. It doesn't feel like mean. It actually feels very loving and very divine to look at. Authenticity is the greatest form of love we can give someone and helps them feel like it's okay for them to be authentic too, which is what we all want, right? We all want the freedom to just be who we are.
And to be
Yeah.
able to step into that power and not be concerned about what society thinks. That,
Yeah.
you know, I was talking to someone within our community, Sacred View community, and she going, value your weirdness. Your
Hmm.
weird is your superpower.
Hmm.
You're unique.
I love that.
Mm. So
Yeah.
like, it's why I'm showing it, like to really empower, embrace your weirdness.
Mm.
Personally feel, Aaron, and for everyone out there who's watching us, you've got to be a little bit weird to live in this world because the whole world's weird. So why not embrace it? I'd love to know, Maren, you're talking about your intuition, especially when you wake up and what are you going to wear and everything to really go in and connect with that. But have you ever had a moment where you felt completely disconnected from your intuition? And how did you get it back? How did you rebuild that trust in yourself?
Yeah, I really did spend years and years feeling not even just disconnected, like I didn't even know I was disconnected. I was so disconnected, right? So unaware of it. I, this might sound cliche, but the most life-changing practice for me that really it really did change my whole life and my ability to love my body and to hear my body and to get in tune with myself was I meditating. I started meditating I know that's like it's a buzzword and it's like becoming a trendy thing, but I that made the most change in my life and got me used to being in a state where I could just sit and let go of the judgment, stop needing to feel something, stop expecting myself to think or do something. It was like it gave me permission to just be with myself. And then over time, with consistent practice, I finally got to a point where one day I was like, I am totally aware of what's happening in my mind and I know what my answer is and I don't have to and I'm not fearful of trying to figure it out. Like I just know because I'm used to being in a place where I've listened to myself so much. Now that doesn't mean that, I mean, some days I wake up and I'm like, I feel scatterbrained and I feel all over the place and I have 6 kids. I'm running like chicken with my head cut off trying to manage everyone and it's crazy and the dog's barking and the kids spilling their Cheerios and it's nutty. So it's not, life is just like that. It's not perfect. But I do notice like I have to check out for 5 minutes, 10 minutes here and there to just sit with myself again and give myself some TLC. And that really does mean sometimes I just sit in quiet and breathe for 5 minutes. That's honestly that's the number one thing I tell everyone. And I love it because it's free to do. It's not exclusive. Like you don't need to be or do anything in order to practice it. Anyone can sit and take a few deep breaths and just sit with themselves. So I don't know. What would you say? I'm so curious. Do you agree with me that
Well,
meditation is?
yes, yes, very similar because it's not going to happen when we're caught up in the craziness. So we do need to take ourselves out of the craziness, even if it's only for 5 minutes, and
Yeah.
send ourselves and breathe and then trust that guidance. The more we trust the guidance, the stronger it gets. And
Oh, I
so,
love that you said that word. Yeah, trust. I'm like that. That was a big part of my journey was learning how to trust my body. Was like trusting my own answers that were coming because I'd been taught and told for so long not to, especially like in the like with doctrinal things and things that did not sit right with me. My body was like screaming at me, "No, this is not your truth." But I was being told I really just need to listen to these other people. And so the message was ignore your body, repress your body, don't listen to your intuition. So that was really hard for me. It was scary when I started my journey of, but I don't agree with this. And my body is telling me a totally different thing.
again, I agree.
Yeah.
But now you've been able to overcome that and listen to your body and look at the woman that you are now. So, Maren, can I just take a moment just to really honor you? It's really true. And I want to thank you for sharing your story. There's a big difference, I feel, about living in your story and poor me compared to using your story as an inspiration to help other people and especially other women. So thank you for joining us on the pathway to wellbeing and for sharing your whole journey with the world, because there's so many women out there and men too, but who would have very similar experiences. So thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. I'd love to know more again from your experience, and we were just talking, there's a lot of people, and again, especially women, who struggle with their body image for
Mm.
whatever reason. Unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on which way you look at it, we are not all born to fit into this box. We don't all have legs or bodies like the celebrities in this world. Right? We are ourselves. A lot of us, a lot of it is genetic, a lot of it is through physical things. There's all different reasons. How can someone, a woman who is struggling with her body image and doubting herself, begin using style as a healing practice?
Mm. Yeah. I feel like really doing the inner spiritual work in conjunction with style is really where we have to start. Like when I work with clients, before we talk about what colors they like and what hemlines they want to wear, what their style is, we really talk about like, why do you feel stuck? Why? What are your fears? And a lot of women do have worries around their bodies, them feeling like I don't, they say things like, I'm too wrinkly, I'm too saggy, I'm too much extra weight. Or maybe they're like thin and they'll be like, but I don't have big enough boobs for this, or I don't have big enough, whatever. There's always something, right? And I'm no stranger to feeling that way because when I was growing up, I was really celebrated and then also hated on for being pretty. I I was fit, I was thin, I was curvy, and I was a runner, so I was burning calories like crazy. And it seemed like I was expected to be that way, but then women especially would be mean or resent me for it. And so I had a lot of like mixed messaging again around what was okay to be. I wanted the approval and attention of men who liked me to be one way, but sometimes it felt like, but I couldn't have friends, girlfriends if I did. And then after I got married to that first husband, I ended up gaining a bunch of weight. I was really unhappy. I fell into some depression, and then I received criticism from my family for being too heavy, and my self-worth was rocked pretty good. There's some problems in that first marriage, and I really felt as a woman completely broken and ugly and not okay. And then I had two babies, and everything got really stretched out and really blown up. And I really carried the shame and like kind of the heartbreak of that for a long time. And then still at the same time, I still wanted to dress in really pretty cool ways. And I remember like this inner part of me that was really like bucking against the system of all the talk I heard of people and women especially saying things like, I can't wear that because I've had so many pregnancies and my it'll show this, or I can't wear that to the beach because I have cellulite. And I was like, what? Screw that. Like, everyone has cellulite, whatever. Why does that mean that it's not okay to show who you are? And I think it was like this little rebellious part of me that was desperate to be me and desperate to not fall into that totally repressed woman. And so I always did what I could within the limitations I had. And then it was once I really broke free of the religious part of me and embraced just a more general spirituality that I felt so liberated and was like, oh, I've been viewing my body completely wrong all of these years. I've been viewing it as like a weakness. I've been viewing my body as something to be used by men for their pleasure. I've been viewing my body as something that I have to hide behind. I've been viewing my body as not a part of me. I've been viewing my body as just like this thing that feels like a burden, especially as a woman. I had all sorts of stories and heartaches wrapped up in even being a woman and having to have a period and having to bear children and all of these things that now I'm like, those are my superpowers. What a badass privileged girl I am to be able to be a girl. And but it took me a while to get to that point where I like didn't regret being born a woman. And for me, the change, I've actually been thinking about this the last few months because I've had three children of my own. I've had some surgeries. I'm aging, like I'm getting wrinkly. My hair is not as thick as all the things. And I feel more confident and more in love and happy with how I feel and what I look like now than I ever did when I was 16 and tiny pre-children. And really the difference is because of the story that I've been telling myself about my body. And once I realized and started like utilizing my body rather than using it and realized that my body is my answer to everything, my body is telling me like what's a yes and what's a no. My body is telling me what truth is. My body is showing me love. Like when I do my spiritual work and I'm trying to find answers, I use my body as my sounding board. Like it will tell me yes, no, wrong, go here, like it has the answer to everything. It's actually my connection to the divine, and the divine is not judging me and telling me to repress it like I used to think it was. The divine is telling me to love it and nourish it and treat it and express it. And so while my weight fluctuates sometimes, and at the moment I'm several pounds over my quote ideal weight, and some of my pants don't fit because I've been dealing with some health issues lately, it's okay. Like I love my body. The difference really has been for me, not in what I'm doing it to it on the outside, but how I'm viewing it and how I'm treating it on the inside. And I really do feel like for me, the difference was understanding the power and the incredible gift. Oh, that being a woman, especially, and having a woman's body is like, we are incredible masterpieces. And I'm to the point now where I'm like, I love having my period. It's fine. Like, it's telling me like I'm getting in tune cyclically with myself, and I'm using it to my advantage, and I love it. I love it. And I'm sad that it took me so long to get to this point, and then grateful that I still have so many more years left to cherish it. So I feel like it really starts with story rewriting and really getting to the base of like, why do you feel stuck? Why won't you dress yourself this way? Why? And if we can get in there and do the inner work of healing the trauma and healing the past experiences, stuff that we don't even know we're carrying. Like I've had a lot of generational trauma that through some spiritual work I've come to understand, again, because I've been in tune with my body and I'm using my body to help me deconstruct all that. But with does that I'm rambling at this point, but does that all resonate with you?
That resonates so much, and it gives me so many more questions before we wrap up.
Yeah.
But no, that was extremely powerful. And again, I'd just like to honor you for sharing that. And if we can get your message out to the world, especially the younger women, about loving their bodies, no matter what, I think the world will be a better place. And speaking of that, can I ask you one question? Like now, from what you just shared about loving your body and about loving your period, which not many women do, especially younger women, because it affects your lifestyle so much.
Yeah.
What's a message that you could give to your younger self if you had the opportunity to go back? What's one message that you would give to your younger self?
I think I would tell my specific younger self, knowing what my life was like and the things I struggled with and where I am today, that stop looking outside yourself. Like, you have all the capability and all the answers and all the power and all the love in you. I'm sorry, I'm getting emotional.
It's okay. And it's good because it's coming from your heart.
Oh, I
Very,
just remember.
very, very passionate about it.
Thank you. I just remember being that young, insecure girl who felt so pulled in so many directions and was so scared and was always looking for someone to approve of her and someone to take care of her and someone to give her the answers because she felt so out of sync with her body and her soul. And I think, oh, I could have saved myself a lot of heartache if I had known what I did then like I do now. And I really think that would be my message to anyone is that it seems counterintuitive because I'm a coach and I love working with people to help them get there. But really, what I'm helping them do is unearthing their own power and helping them break the blocks and the resistance that they have around their life. I just, even now, there's a tendency in me still to want to ask someone else or want someone else to tell me what to do or provide the answer. And I have noticed that that tendency arises in me when I'm feeling insecure or when I'm feeling resistant to the change that's coming or when I'm feeling like self-doubt and when I feel totally aligned and very connected to divinity. It's laughable to think that I would ever need anything else. It's laughable that I would ever feel hurt. It's laughable that I would ever feel doubt because that when I've been able to connect on such a deep spiritual level to divinity, I don't feel like that concept has a vocabulary of doubt and hurt. It's more just experience and wisdom and learning and love. So I have to really hold on to those moments where I've been in complete synapse with that moment and carry that with me when life gets messy and arises, which it does.
Yeah. Thank you ever so much for sharing. And I said, thank you ever so much for coming on. One last, or almost one last question, because this is coming up so much. Again, there's so many women today who are struggling with their image, with their clothing, with their style, with their self-worth. So what are some, or even if it's just one, small but very powerful shift that women can make today to really start aligning the outer appearance with the inner truth, to really
Mm.
be able to step into their power, even if it's small? What do you recommend if someone comes to you and go, where do I start?
Ooh, a first simple step. I really feel like it's taking a moment to cut the outside noise and to cut out the world and disconnect from worldly. My name's Maren, so worldly Maren. Cut her out for a second, right? That's why, like, for me, I go into my closet and I sometimes I shut the door so I'm totally alone and I take a few deep breaths and I close my eyes and I find that place in my body that is speaking to me. And everyone can do this, right? Whatever you're feeling, if you close your eyes and breathe for a minute and pay attention and look for where it is in your body that's feeling it, you usually can find it. It's often in a tight chest or something in your stomach or your gut. Or for me, a lot of times it used to be my throat. My throat was always blocked and felt really tight because I could never, my energy would get stuck there and I couldn't voice myself and express it. And if you can sit with that for a minute and not judge it and not feel the need to move it or change it, but just to love it and accept it and be okay with that, it changes everything. It's like giving yourself permission to just be who you are and feel everything you need to feel. And so putting that in with style, when I mean cut out the noise, it's you're so focused on what's happening in your body and paying attention to what's happening there, you're not worried for the minute about what so and so is going to say or what judgment they're going to pass on you, or if you're going to fit in, or if you're going to stand out, or if you're going to look stupid, or if you're going to whatever the judgment of fear is. And if you can go right into your body and just ask yourself, what do I need today? Or if you're already in a place where you're trying on a piece of clothing or you're in whatever clothes you are, and you can ask your body, does this feel aligned? And the answer will come to you. And if it's a no, then we go back to the starting board and we're like, okay, body, what is going to feel good today? What do I need? And if it's a yes, then you move on. But I really feel like it all comes back to your body and your spiritual work and getting in tune with your higher self.
I love that. It's just really asking and listening to the answer, allowing that, giving yourself space and allowing the answers to come.
Yeah.
Thank you, Maren. It's been a real honor. I do hope that you'll come back to the Pathways to Wellbeing, because this is the first part of the journey to being on the pathway to wellbeing. So thank you ever so much. Before we wrap up, and we haven't even talked about your business, so would you like to share, is there anything else that you would like to share? And tell us about your business and if you have any offers, because of course we will be putting your links down below. So anything else that
Yeah, I guess my just last message is I used to be this person who said, I'm too such and such. I can't do it. And I just want to tell like those women and men who are struggling, whether it's what they're wearing or if it's what they want to do or what they want to say or whatever it may be, if they're feeling held back, because all of those things are, quote, solvable and fixable, and it's never too late. And the only thing that's worth pursuing is something that's really going to make you feel so good inside. And again, if you would never say it to your daughter or your friend, then you shouldn't say it to yourself, right? We would never tell someone, I think you're too wrinkly to wear that. We would never tell them that because it would feel so out of alignment with real love. Someone once said to me, she's in her 60s, and I was inviting her to be a part of this glow program I have. And she said to me, I think my glowing days are over. And it just was so disheartening and made me so sad because I looked at this woman who I've known my whole life and I see her beauty shining out from her 65-year-old body. And I see her joy and her sparkle and her talents and her, what she has to offer this world. And it was so sad that she felt like she couldn't see it, or that age somehow meant she couldn't anymore. And that's a common thing I see in my parents' generation. And I've decided I don't care how old I am. I'm always going to wear glittery eyeshadow. That's who
I
I'm doing.
love it.
Yeah. So that's my last message is it's just cut out the world, follow what's true to you. It's never there's no such thing as too late because time is just this mortal concept. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Thank you. Thank you ever so much. And again, for everyone who's listening or watching, do click on the links and reach out to Maren. Check out the website and everything else, because you never know. Maren, I really always put myself in this thing. I have this belief is you never know what the universe is going to provide. And for anyone who's a little bit of self-doubt, even if it's a little, or you're not sure about your style, Maren is a beautiful woman to be able to help you with that. So
Thank you. Yes, I do have a bunch of freebies and a free guide called Dress Like a Goddess in 90 Seconds. It's not about wearing makeup. It's not about looking, quote, glamorous. It's all about getting in tune with how you feel aligned. And it's just like a PDF and accompanying workshop that everyone can grab. It'll help them get dressed every day.
we'll be putting all those links below. So
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Enjoy. Do come back.
Yes.
Oh my God. What an incredible and enlightening conversation that we've just experienced with Maren, who shared her story, her journey of growing up in a repressed culture to being able to stand in her power and help others to use style and color to reveal their inner truth. So now is your opportunity. Reach out to Maren by clicking on the links below. You never know where that first step will take you. And if today's discussion resonated with you, I invite you to visit us at www.sacredu, that's the letter U, .love, where you will find a wealth of resources, connections, and a community of empowered women ready to support you. Let's walk this path together. If you found value in today's episode, please subscribe to our podcast. Leave us a review and share it with someone else who might need to hear this message. Before you go, ask your body, are you leading the right way now? Found value in this episode? Please subscribe to our podcast. Leave us a review or share it with someone else who may need it. Before you go, remember, if you wouldn't say it to a friend, don't say it to yourself, to your body, who is your true friend. Stay grounded, stay inspired, stay connected. And until next time, keep walking your pathway to well-being.